Hi everyone, welcome to our channel CodeChef. If you are interested in competitive programming and want to learn and master data structures and algorithms, then this is a one-stop destination for you. Every week, we'll post CodeChef problem explanations, conceptual videos on various programming paradigms, and also conduct live problem-solving sessions. But before we get started, here's a reminder to hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet already. Great. Now that you have subscribed, let's get started. The problem that we are seeing today is Javelin Qualification. It is a simple problem from August Starters 8. Now let us see the problem statement. So the problem statement here says that there are n players with IDs 1 to n. So this is a javelin throw competition and there will be n number of players given to us. The IDs of the player will be from 1 to n. Now the qualification round of javelin throw has already gotten over, and we have the distance of the javelin throw for each player. So that will be given to us in the form of A1 up to AN. So whatever distance each player had thrown their javelin, that distance will be given to us. Now we have to we have to quote for the final round selection of the players based on the steps given to us. So we have to find out that from the qualification round, based on whatever distance the players had thrown their javelin, how many will go into the final round. So the first condition for that is that if the longest throw of the player in the qualification round is greater than or equal to the qualification mark of m centimeters. So you will be given this m centimeters, say say for example it is 4000 centimeter, and if some player is say the longest throw was 2000 centimeter, then in that case he will not make to the final round. But if in case it is greater than or equal to 4000, that is if it is maybe 5000, then that player will be making his place to the final round of the competition. Now then when we come to condition 2, so it's given that from step 1, if we have less than x number of players, so this x will also be given to you, and it's given that if we have less than x players from condition 1, then in that case we will need more players for the final round. So how do we select those more players? Or what we can do, we can fill the remaining spots of the players by selecting those who have thrown the maximum distance, that is from the players who have not qualified. So the question wants us to find out the IDs of the players who will go into the final rounds, and we have to print those IDs in the increasing order. Increasing order means, so if players 3, 4 and 1 have gotten selected, so we will print 1, 3, 4. That is the IDs in increasing order. So let us take an example to understand what this problem is asking. So here I have taken an example of 5 players, and the qualification mark given to us is 3000 centimeter and x is given as 3. So if from the first condition, if less than 3 players are selected, then we can select more of the unqualified players based on their longest throw. So here you can see the maximum throw of the player is A5, that is 6000, and 6000 is greater than 3000. So that means player 5 will get selected. So now here it does not matter in which in which order you are selecting. We can just go to player 1. Player 1 is 2000, which is less than 3000, so player 1 will not be selected. Player 2 is 5000, so 5000 is greater than 3000, right? Greater than the qualification mark, so we will select player 2. Then we'll go to player 3, which is 3000, so it was given that if it is greater than or equal to m. So 3000 is equal to m, so again player 3 will be selected, player 4 will also be selected, and we have already selected player 5. So we have selected 4 players which will be going to the final round based on condition 1. Now we have to check whether the number of players that are going to the final round is less than or x or not. So they are definitely not less than x. There are 4 number of players that we have selected which is greater than x. So we don't need to select any more players in that case. This will be the final number of players and the final players who will be selected, and the answer will be 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how your answer will look like. But in the next example, if in case like you have such an example where you got less than X players from condition 1. So we will have a look at this example. In this example, what's happening that if we see, then we will only be able to select less than X number of players. So A1 cannot be selected because 2000 is less than 3000. Then A2 also cannot be selected. A3 will be selected, yes. A4 cannot be selected. A5 can also not be selected. So we could only select one player, that is with ID 3. So the number of players selected is 1. Now 1 is less than X, that is 1 is less than 3. So we will have to select at least X number of players. So now how we can do that? So we will be selecting players based on their longest throw. So here, out of the unqualified players, that is A1, A2, A4 and A5, who has thrown the maximum distance? So that is A2. So we will select 2. Now the number of players selected are 2, which is still less than X, right? So we have to select one more player because the number of players cannot be less than X. That is what the question is saying. So after 2, that is after 2500, we can see that the maximum throw is of A5, that is 2200. So we will select player 5. Now if we count the number of players we have selected for the final round, it is 3 in number, which is not less than X now. So these 3 are the finalists that we need. We do not have to select more players now. So the answer will look like 2, 3 and 5. So this is how the question goes. Now to solve this problem, what you can easily think of, a readable solution can be that if we sort this A array, the array which will be given to us, like the longest distance of all the players, if we can sort that and maintain the IDs along with it, like because we will also need the IDs, right? IDs of the player. A2 is 2500, so 2500 distance is of player 2. So how will we come to know that yes, 2500 is the distance of player 2? So that is why we will also need the ID when we are sorting this particular array. And then we can just put a condition that if in case the longest distance is greater than or equal to m, or the size of the number of players selected is less than X, then in that case we are just going to add the player to the final round. So let us use the same example to understand how we will actually be coding the solution, how we will be actually solving the solution. So here what I have done, I have already sorted the array, sorted this particular information given to us. So 3000 comma 3 means that the third player, the player with ID 3, has scored 3000 centimeter for the javelin throw. That is the distance at which he had thrown his javelin. That is A3 equals to 3000, which is given here. Then in the second number means this is sorted, right, according to the distance of the throw. So the second player, the player ID 2 has scored 2500. Player ID 5 has scored again 2200. So this is how we will keep a pair so that we have the ID as well as the throw distance. Now it is very easy to select what will be our condition. Our condition will be that if this throw distance, if the distance is greater than equal to m, or the number of selected candidates or the number of selected players is less than X, then in both cases we will be selecting the player, adding the player. And when both of these conditions are false, then definitely we will not add the player. So let us go by it. So we will check, we will come to the first place now. If the distance is greater than or equal to m, so yes, the distance is greater than or equal to m, and so we will select player number 3. and the number of candidates selected has become 1. Now we will go to the second player. So here it's 2500 distance, which is not greater than equal to m, right? So now we will check whether 1 is less than x. So yes, 1 is less than 3. So we will select player 2. We have selected player 2, and now number of candidates selected have become 2. Now we will go to the third part. So here the throw distance is 2200. So 2200 is less than m, right? So this player will not be selected because of this condition. But we can see that number is 2. So 2 is less than 3. Number of candidates selected are less than 3. So that is why we will select this player as well. That is, we have selected player 5. Now we will go to the next. So here 2000 is less than m. So not with this condition. Then 1 is less than here we have already number of candidates will have become 3. So now 3 is not less than x, right? Because x is also equal to 3. So definitely by both these conditions we will not select this player. Again, when we go to the next player, we will not select this player. So that is why this is going to be our answer. So this is the method. This is the very easy way of selecting the players. You just have to sort the array, and you also have to take care of the IDs of the players. So that is why you need a pair where you can store the throw distance as well as the ID of the player along with it. So that is the problem solution. Now it's a very simple one. So please try it out on your own. The code will be also not too difficult. So definitely give it a try, and if you are not able to solve it, then we will definitely be seeing the code. But before that, let us see the input, output and constraints. So here the first line of input will be the number of test cases as usual. Then the first line of each test case will have n, m and x. So now you know what n, m and x is. And we will have the throw distance of each player as a1 to an. Now the output format. So output format here, there is a lot of things written here. So I'll tell you in a very simple manner what will be the output format. So here, like you can see that we have selected 3 players, right? So first you will print 3, that is the number of players. Number of players that will be going to the final round. That is what you will print. Space, you will print the IDs of the players that have been selected in increasing order. So here increasing order will be 2, 3 and 5. So this is how your output will look like. That is 3 is the number of players, and then followed by the IDs of those 3 players in increasing order. This is how the output format will be. The constraints are not too large, so you don't have to worry about the constraints. The time complexity here, because we will be using sorting, so the time complexity here will be n log n, right? Because we will have to traverse through n players, and for sorting we need n log n. So this is going to be our time complexity. Now let us go and see the code. So guys, the code will be in C++. Let us see the code. Here first few lines will be the input. So till here the code is clear. I think it's just the input part. And now I have declared a vector here, which is a vector of pair, and we are taking it as a pair because we want to store the throw distance of each player along with the ID of the player. So that is why I have taken a pair of vectors. So in other programming languages where pair data structures is not readily available to you, you can use a tuple, or maybe you can use 2 separate arrays to store this like this. Okay. Now I have also taken int distance. So in this int distance is a variable. It's just a temporary variable where we will be taking the input of each throw of the player, and then we will be putting it into this vector of pairs. Okay, so here I have taken input, say, for the first player, and then I am doing a dot pushback. So it means that we are trying to store the pair in this vector, and here we are using make pair function to create a pair, and in the first part of the pair we will be storing the distance, and in the second part of the pair we will be storing the id, that is I plus 1. So if it is I equals to 0, obviously the id of the player will be 1 because the ids are starting from 1 to n. Now after that we are going to sort this pair in descending order. So if we just sort this pair directly, then it will be sorting according to the first part of the pair, that is the distance. So I have used a dot r begin because we want it to be in descending order. So that is how we do it in C++. After we have sorted, we will create one more vector which will be used for storing our answer because we need the IDs of the players who will be making it to the final round. Now after that we will run a loop. So in this loop we will be basically checking that our conditions, that if the player is qualifying for the final round or not. So what will be our condition? Our condition will be for each player. So now first means that we are checking for the distance because the first part of the pair consists of the distance of the throw of each player, right? So if ai dot first is greater than equal to m, then in that case also the player will get selected, or answer dot size is less than x. Here what we are checking if the size of this vector, or you can say that the number of players that have been selected for the final round is less than x, then in that case also we will keep on selecting the players. So, and we are doing answer dot pushback ai dot second because in the second part of the pair we have the id of each player. So we need the IDs, right? That is why we are using ai dot second. Now again we will sort this answer vector. We are sorting this answer vector because we need the IDs to be in increasing order and not randomly, just like whatever we selected, not in a random manner. So that is why we will sort this in ascending order because that is how we need our printing of IDs to be. And now we will first print the size of the vector. So because we need to print the count of the candidates who have made it to the final round. So we will print that, give one space, and then we will run a loop and print all the values that are there in answer vector, which consists of the IDs of the players who have made it to the final round. And then at last, don't forget to give this \n sequence because we need the next answer to be on a separate line. Next answer meaning that for another test case, for the next test case, we want that the answer should be on a separate line. So if you forget to do this, then your answer will be there in the same line. It will continue to be in a single line for all the test cases. So we don't want that because then our code will not get accepted. So guys, that's it. This was the code. Now if you have any doubts, then please do post them in the comment section, and do subscribe to our channel. If you've understood the solution, then do like the video, and you can also subscribe to our Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box below. So I guess I'll see you in the next one.